Just last week, 3 kids from Dayton were taken to the hospital after grabbing what they thought was normal candy out of a mother's purse. Those wound up being THC gummies. Those kids are expected to be okay. But we're asking questions about hemp and marijuana safety. I'm joined now live by Adrienne Robbins, the Deputy Executive Director of the Ohio Cannabis Coalition. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the governor's effort to ban intoxicating hemp. Are these types of products a real safety threat in Ohio?
Absolutely. And we think the governor's actions are really a great first step when it comes to taking care of these products and making sure they're not getting in the hands of not only children, but honestly adult consumers too. Simply, we don't know what's in these products. They're untested, they're unregulated, and we don't know where they're coming from. At the same time, Ohio does have a regulated cannabis industry that can serve adults in Ohio in a safe way.
So what does your coalition think should happen next with these intoxicating hemp products?
So there are several bills right now in the Ohio legislature, one which they're going to be looking at tomorrow, which would regulate these products, similar to how we regulate cannabis, or even how we regulate liquor as well when it comes to the THC beverages. At the end of the day, we just want to make sure that these intoxicating products aren't getting into the wrong hands, they're not being marketed to the wrong people like children, and they're being safe and they're tested.
You know, businesses are suing over the governor's ban. How do you respond to those businesses' concerns about taking products off of shelves?
I have I'm not surprised to see businesses suing. This is a big business. This brings in a lot of money for them. Unfortunately, these products were never meant to be legal. They operate in a gray area. And I think these businesses probably should have known that this was coming at some point or another. They've made their money over the past 7 years since the Farm Bill loophole was created. But that may be coming to an end very soon here.
As we mentioned, kids are getting a hold of THC and cannabis products. What do parents who use these products need to know about proper storage and safe use around kids?
Well, first of all, when we talk about cannabis products, normally the state licensed dispensaries get lumped in with these gas stations and hemp shops and whatnot. So a couple differences here. First of all, if you go to a dispensary and buy state licensed products, those products are going to be in child-proof packaging. That's the number one step here. So when you go to your gas station or your vape shop or whatnot, you don't know if that packaging is safe for children or not. So that's one. Two, when you go to that vape shop or gas station, those are the products that are going to be looking like candies and chips and whatnot. They are marketed to children with cartoon characters. You are never going to see something like that in a state licensed dispensary in Ohio. That being said, of course, everyone should be careful about when they're storing their cannabis products, making sure that children can't get a hold of them and also pets can't get a hold of them. So again, making sure you keep them in that child safe resistant packaging, maybe store them in a safe or a lockbox of some sort as well.
Really quickly, what should parents keep in mind with Halloween coming up?
I think to be really cautious, again, when it comes to these intoxicating hemp products. I think the normal consumer sometimes can't even really tell the difference whether it is a candy product or it does have some kind of THC in it, a Delta 8, a Delta 10. And again, we don't know what's in these products, so it could be a really high level of that. And that's extremely dangerous when it comes to a kid who, let's be honest, doesn't eat just one M&M.
All right, Adrienne Robbins, the Deputy Executive Director of the Ohio Cannabis Coalition. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.